Hello Explorers. Today we're going to be using just our PocketLab and a Ziploc bag to measure the weight of different objects just using air pressure. For this lab, you'll need your PocketLab, a device to measure the data with, a Ziploc bag that can be sealed, and some objects of known weight. So I've taped two books together that I know is 1 pound, and then I've taken another book and that I know is 4 pounds. You will also need a couple objects of unknown weight, so I've taken two more books and I have not measured the weight of them. Okay, so we're going to start by taking our PocketLab, placing it inside of our Ziploc bag. We're going to zip it all the way so it's almost sealed, and then blow air into the bag to fill it up with as much air in there as possible. I'm going to record my data. I'm going to look at what P1 is with no weight added. It's at about 1,005 millibars. Now I'm going to take my first object of known weight, my two books that I've taped together. We'll go ahead and place the book on top of the bag, and we will note our second reading. It is now increased to 1,008 millibars. So now we know that when we added, and the book was about 1 pound, so adding 1 pound, we go from 1,005 millibars to 1,008 millibars. We record that pressure as P2, pressure 2 with 1 pound of weight. Next, we're going to add our book that is 4 pounds, and it's about 1,013 millibars. And we'll record that as P3. Okay, so now we're going to take our objects of unknown weight and place them on the bag. So I'm going to take my book, A Passion for Baking. I don't know the weight of it yet. I'm going to add that. For point P4. And when I add that to the bag, it's at about 1,012 millibars. Now I'm going to take my last book of unknown weight, The Universe and Beyond, and I'm going to place that on my bag. And that is about 1,011 millibars. Let's take a closer look at the data. We can see that as we increase the weight from 0 to 1 to 4 pounds, the pressure inside the bag will increase. You can get your students to plot these data points with pressure versus weight, and then draw a line of best fit in order to estimate the weight of the unknown objects P4 and P5. But first, let's take a look at what exactly is happening inside the bag that is causing the pressure to increase as the weight increases. This diagram illustrates what's happening as weight is added to the bag. Before you conduct the experiment, you want to get your students to predict what the shape of the bag will look like as weight is added. And what they can conclude after the experiment is that as weight is added to the bag, the volume of the bag decreases. But the gas particles inside the bag can't go anywhere because the bag is sealed. So we have this issue where the volume is decreasing because of the added weight, because of the force of gravity pushing down on the bag, yet those particles, the same amount of particles, are in the bag as they were before. So what happens? They get more densely packed together, as you can see especially in this last one, and you can see these red particles are the ones that are sort of pushing against the surface of the bag and the surface of the PocketLab, which we measure as pressure. So here, not as many are pushing against the surface, they're not as densely packed together. As the weight is added and the volume decreases, they're more densely packed together, more pushing off the surfaces inside the bag, and you have an increase in pressure proportional to the weight. We now want to plot P1, P2, and P3 on a pressure versus weight graph, which we've done here. So here's P1, P2, and P3, and then we drew a line of best fit, and we can use that line of best fit to estimate the weight of P4, which was our book, A Passion for Baking, and P5, which was our book, The Universe and Beyond. So P4 had a pressure of 1,012 and 42 hundredths millibars. And P5, the universe and beyond, had a pressure of 1011.1 millibars. So now what we want to do is we want to take those points and plot them on our graph on our trend line to estimate the weight. So let's start with P4. P4 was at 1012.42 millibars. So I go right here to about 1012. I take that all the way over to the trend line. I put that point right on the trend line. I call that P4. And now I can estimate the weight of P4 by looking at the x-axis. And I see that P4, it's between 3 and 3.5 pounds. I would say that's about 3.4 pounds. So now I can estimate that P4 is 3.4 pounds. I can look at now P5, the universe and beyond. It's 1011.1 millibars. So I go here to 1011. I go over to my trend line. I plot my point. I label it P5. And now I can figure out exactly where we're at there. So I would say that's between 2.5 and 3 pounds. So probably about maybe 2.8 pounds at that point. So we would predict that at approximately P5 at approximately 2.8 pounds. And that's how you can use your PocketLab, a Ziploc bag, and just air pressure to find the weight of unknown objects.